Alright everybody, it's Downwind month of July and we are here with Mr. James Casey and really super stoked on the bumps. You guys are doing a practice run. You've been on Hawaii for a while now.
Yeah.
How's everything? You've done some races. How you look at the community this year in compared to like last year? How's the growth?
Oh, it's just great. I went to Oahu yesterday or 2 days ago and did the Voyager race, and I tell you what, I think we had like 100 people starting, and the community's just growing, strength to strength, and everyone's getting better and faster, and it's been fun. It's been cool to see. Really cool. So like, I'm stoked with the top 10 finish, from that race the other day. Whereas if this was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I would have been like, I didn't get a podium. But top 10 feels like better than a podium a couple of years ago.
Wow, that's the level of competition. That's insane. And I remember from our interview from last year when you were saying, a couple of guys in Australia and you're coaching, and same thing over there, growing.
Big time. We've got a few Aussies with us here today. There's a young Aussie guy, Kai Thompson, who's actually moving really fast. Yeah. He's from the sunny coast, so it's cool to see. I think he got like 5th the other day. So it's cool to see people from all over. There's a bunch of Tahitians, a bunch of French guys, and the Hawaiians. Edo's leading the charge at the moment. But Finn and Jeffrey Spencer too. It's really cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we have SUP OGs. We have also pro surfers like James here, SUP OG. We have Olivia, SUP OG, for example, as well. Armstrong, SUP OG. And then we have pro surfers. I think this year one of the WSL guy, I think it's Zeke is doing it. Yeah. That is really cool. And you guys did a bunch of trips as well. You were in Europe.
I went to Europe last year and visited some of the UK shops, but the boys like Marcus, Ben and Dan, they've been to Germany, did Boot, Dusseldorf, and
you can watch the interview there.
They went to Switzerland and did like a bunch of like dock starting kind of, and France, and they went to the UK as well. So the code's we're growing, and it's cool to see that the community getting behind it and everyone loving the gear, so it's been fun.
Stoked. Speaking a little bit of OG SUP, I have a little bit the feeling that I'm being thrown back here like 10 maybe 12 years when everybody came to Maui to Downwind SUP. Do you kind of feel the same way?
Oh, for sure. Like I actually missed that initial boom of SUP. I came in once it was already pretty established, and it kind of plateaued when I was really getting into it. But to be a part of this growing Downwind Foil community is absolutely amazing. The number of people setting runs on Oahu, on Maui is it's pretty cool, right? You add the parawing into that and winging, and everyone's downwinding because it's so hard to stay in one spot here on Maui. It's easier to downwind than it's just to go for a wings foil.
True.
So lots of downwind stuff. It's unreal.
Yeah, it is really unreal, and I can't stop frothing over this. And we have everybody here now. And in terms of equipment, let's talk equipment here for a second. We had I'd say last year it would always been like an arms race, and I know you're holding your latest Downwind foil, front foil here in your hand. Is it still that much of an arms race like it used to be, or are things plateauing out, and how much is the skill level with the density of competition there? Can you talk to that a little bit? Yeah,
look, I think there's an element of arms race. Like people are still, seem to be getting a little bit more out of some foils in certain conditions. But, we have varied conditions and different conditions. But to be honest, the level of everyone's riding and going fast up and over bumps, honestly, it's so different to
up and over.
It's how fast and how long you can hold your momentum. The aspect ratio of foils, back in 23 when I won, we were using 13 aspect ratio, and that was what? There's a few guys over here with 18, 19 aspect ratio foils, so they're getting really big span, really, really small cord. We got a few prototypes in the works, but the R's are they're hanging in there. They're definitely, I wouldn't say if you're looking for pure speed, our R foils aren't as quick as some of the other ones, and that's why we're prototyping new stuff. But in terms of an all-round foil, for having fun downwind, turning, gliding, all of that, the R's are still performing really well. And I've been we're testing some prototypes against some, the 600R, for example. And in good conditions, the 600R is just as fast as a lot of people I'm racing still, Cool. So, but it's when the conditions get a little flatter, a little bit more drawn out, you got to work a little harder. That's when the newer stuff, sort of the higher aspect stuff. What do you have in your
hand right now here?
This is the 770R, and this is what I used last year for Maui to Molokai. And it's it's a great foil. Like you can still surf and turn and have a lot of fun on this, whereas a lot of the stuff we're playing around with has a bit more glide, but doesn't turn as well. So when it gets really tight together, it's you've got no choice but to go up and over stuff, which for racing is important. But I really think for the general market, not everyone wants to be doing that. Like I've done a few runs over here on the S series, which isn't even for our range, isn't a downwind foil. You can downwind on it, but it's not designed for downwind foiling. And the S series, it's why we got into downwind foiling, to surf downwind, you know. And like you know, it's happened in SUP too. You know, I started SUP surfing, and then I got into SUP racing. Right. And if the surf's really good, look, I prefer to be SUP surfing than SUP racing. Mm-hmm. But the downwind things, it's addictive, you know. And like it's this cross between surfing and doing like an endurance sport. And so I feel like it's the same. This R series, we just discussed that on the drive over here to Marla Wharf, and like there's still a place for it. And the majority of people that are around the world that are going to be downwinding probably shouldn't be on these crazy high aspect foils, 16, 17, 18, because it's not surfy. Like it's straight lines, it's up and over, it's fast. It's like Formula One of
very interesting. So this is actually really cool, because I'm like an intermediate foiler, and I've been riding a high aspect foil that is produced for downwind foiling. And interestingly enough, I find that one easier to get the bumps, because it is faster, and sometimes I mismaneuver myself and I end up in a trough, or I can get over the bump I can get over the back of another wave.
Yep. So sometimes, like by having in really good conditions, like good steep short bumps, you can use anything, and to be honest, it's going to be easier to maneuver on a lower aspect foil. What you lose is glide. Yeah. And so these higher aspect foils are all about getting more glide. Once you've got your top speed, you can hold it just by pumping.
I know, it just keeps going.
Just keeps going. But what can happen is, if you're not careful and the bumps are really close together, you're going to glide into the back of the bump in front. Yes. You lose all your speed. Yeah. And then you're going to pump really hard, and it feels like you're about to stall out.
That's exactly what happens to me.
Yeah. So that's happens to a lot of people. So the low, like not low aspect, but like the S series or the R series, they're 9.5 and 13 aspect ratio. Yeah. To me personally, I find I can maneuver them much better when it gets really messy and really wild, like really good downwind conditions. They're easier and more fun to surf. But look, to race, we're going straight, we're going up and over, we're going as fast as we can from point A to point B. We don't want to be turning too much. But that's not what everyone wants to do. Yeah. A lot of people, everyone that wants to be doing that is probably over here in Hawaii right now. You know, and there was 100 people the other day at over in Oahu, and of those 100 people, I'd say maybe half of them were sponsored, you know, so it's not a huge market to be selling a really high aspect foil. In saying that, I want a really fast high aspect foil, and we're going to develop one, but we're not expecting it to be a super high volume seller. I think the majority of the foiling world wants a foil that is pretty all round. It can glide, it can turn, and it's easy to use. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Easy to use, low stall speed, and all of that. And just real quick, and we're going to catch up with this guy, by the way, here all over through the month, because we have all these races coming. But what are you expecting here? The conditions are looking awesome. You guys are going on a practice run. Bumps are stacked, and everybody's here. So M2M coming up, and then M2O. We have Padlimua this Sunday. We're going to be there as well. It's just frothing, mate. Yeah, it's going to be a big month, and I'm excited to see what trends come out of this month, because everyone's got new gear. Like I said, high aspect, lower aspect, longer boards, shorter boards. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to hopefully see a few new faces in that sort of top 10, top 20. Anyone in the top 30 is a seriously good foiler. Anyone in the top 40, top 50 is a very good foiler too. So obviously I think Edo's the guy to beat at the moment in terms of the racing, but Finn Spencer's been moving really quick. Hobie's been going pretty good over on Oahu, and Kane to Wild are probably. I think it'd be cool to see Kane do really well, because we did a race yesterday and he was moving real quick. It was cool to see. Cool.
Well, super stoked, you guys. It is frothing time on Maui with the Downwind month, and we'll stay tuned for many more videos, which we'll see you in the next one.